Hello, this is RICKY, the Android guy. Hey guys, welcome to our special edition of Android Weekly, where we are talking about the Galaxy S6. So I told you guys to ask all of your questions and email them to me and ask them in the video where I had told you about it. And we got a pretty good amount. I think we got about 15 questions. So I will run them off. If you start watching live though, make sure to ask your question live in the comment section down below. And if you don't get to this video, but you get to our next video, we have our regularly scheduled Android Weekly, which happens every week at 8 p.m. Pacific Coast time. So make sure to tune into that. And we always answer your questions live every week. All right, so let's start on the first couple of questions about the Galaxy S6. Okay, first one comes from Joshua, and he asked, even though there's no micro SD card slot, will a thumb drive still launch the My Files application? Absolutely. It's still able to connect with the not MHL adapter. What am I thinking of? The OTG cable, which is an on-the-go cable, which plugs a female USB into a micro USB, and you can plug whatever you want into that. You can plug in another phone. You can plug in a flash drive, like you said. You can plug in the keyboard and mouse. You can plug in pretty much everything you want, and it will work. So yes, you can use a flash drive, and it will allow you to see all the files in the flash drive. Connor O'Brien asked, any hidden features? I have a 10 hidden features video for you right on my channel, Connor, sorry. So make sure to check it out. It is available on my channel, 10 hidden features of the Galaxy S6, and along with 10 best features. There are some features that weren't exactly hidden, but they definitely are my favorites, so make sure to check that out. Best launcher, my personal best launcher, and I do have both Galaxy S6s, so we will get to all those questions in a second, but I have the gold Galaxy S6. It's very shiny. And on my since this is my one that I'm doing my personal phone, I have what's called what is this called? Nova Launcher. Nova Launcher. So Nova Launcher is the launcher that I use for all my daily stuff. So yeah, I love Nova Launcher. This is the one that I recommend, and definitely my favorite launcher, and it works really great. It makes it so you can spin all the way around, which I love. Because one of my big pet peeves is that the S6 cannot spin all the way around normally, and I just can't have that. I need the carousel effect. So yes, so that is the best launcher in my opinion. A lot of people like different launchers. Nova is among the best, and it's my personal favorite. There's Google Launcher, there's the ASOP, I think it's called, but there's a lot of different launchers out there. My opinion is that that is the best one, but again, that's just my opinion. So we'll keep that in mind. All right, now the next question comes from Maria. And the truth about the battery, how does it feel to go back to a 5.1-inch screen from a 5.7 note screen? Okay, so, oh, you asked a couple of questions. I see. So first of all, the truth about the battery, it does die quicker than my Note. By all means, and that question comes up a couple of times. A couple of you guys did ask, which I see. I think William asked it on this one. Is the battery, you know, between the Note 4 and the S6, the battery, and the Note 4 is a better battery life, and the Note series will always be a better battery life in my opinion because it's a bigger battery, and even with the bigger screen, it's still going to be a better battery overall. So keeping that in mind, is it still a good battery? It's a good battery. I mean, I will always get through the day with it. So that's really good. Now, for me as a power user to say that, I think it definitely stands out. There is a difference in battery life with the S6 Edge and S6 models that I have. And that, you know, we wondered, a lot of reviewers like myself wondered, does that 50 milliamps make a difference? Because the S6 Edge does have a 50 milliamps more compared to the S6. And in benchmark tests, we've seen this. And I think it's safe to say now that, yes, the S6 Edge does seem to have a longer battery life. I've had it for about a week the S6 Edge now compared to my S6 that I've had for about a month now. And yes, I would say that those now, how much? I would say probably about an hour. I would say when I am usually it's 10% less from what I see. So, if the typical phone of the S6 gives you, 10 hours of usage, then the S6 Edge seems to give you 11 hours of usage. Now, obviously, that's over time. If you're not using it, it's not going to really drain. It has an amazing standby time. That's one thing I will say. It does have an amazing standby time. But yes, I have found that one, it definitely is a good battery life, good for every average user. Because remember, I'm a power user too, so I'm really straining the battery life on that device. So yes, it is good enough for a daily user. For a power user like me, I am still charging it a bit throughout the day. I have my car charger, and with that alone, honestly, with that alone, I could make it till I go to bed. With my car charger alone, just topping it off a little bit here and there, it easily lasts me. But I'm very good with my battery life as well. So I will say that I've always been like, I freak out if I'm at 50%. You'll never see my phone below 50 generally, and that's all of my friends that know me know. Like, what? Oh, you have a low battery life? How low is it? 85? Like that's I continuously always like worry about my battery life. So yes, overall, yes, I would easily say that if you're a power user and you charge it like in your car or maybe at your office or whatever, a little bit here and there, you'll easily get through the day with it. If not, you probably will charge it, depending on how you are, probably around 6 p.m., 8 p.m. But the great part about it is because it charges so quickly, you're going to be fine. I mean, that's the one thing I have loved about this phone, even more so than the Note 4, is how quickly this phone charges. It really is insanely quick. And another thing that I've liked is I always have this battery pack with me now on my job. So when I'm out and about, this is I reviewed this one. Is from Lugu Lake. And this is basically a battery backup wireless charger. So I can just turn it on like I have here. And then when that red light comes on, that means it's wireless charging now. So then I can just put my phone on there and then wirelessly charge it. So yeah, I am content with the battery life. Would I be, thrilled if it was even longer like the Note? Yeah, I would. I would be happy about that. Do I need it? Not yet. Not yet. All right. So a lot of people ask about battery life, so that's one that I want to get out of the way and get a very thorough answer to that. How does it feel to go to a 5.1 inch from a 5.7? Okay, so again, for my daily driver, I've only had the S6 Edge for, like my Note Edge was still my daily driver, and I was using the S6 as a secondary phone. But now the Note Edge is my daily driver phone. That is my main one that I'm using every day, and that's the one that I'm using. So because that is my daily driver now, I can say my first big difference between the 5.7 inch screen that I had for so long, and the Note 3 was my daily driver last year. It was the one I always went back to after reviewing phones. And same thing with the Note 4. Or Note Edge. It was my daily driver. I always went back to it. So now that I have this phone, I have to admit, one time I've really noticed a difference is definitely in the times when I'm driving. Because my phone, I always have for my navigation, and I always use split screen. So I'm one of those big advocates of split screen. I always have it side by side, and the split screen on the left side will have like my navigation. Split screen on my right side will have my ability to, view my YouTube podcast that I watch AMC Movie News. I watch, Emergency Awesome, a couple of IGN, all these different podcasts are running on the side. And not only podcasts, but videos that they post, and I watch them both side by side. But here's the thing. So while I was watching side by side now, when I glance at it, if it's the traffic or I'm at a red light, it is small compared to what I had. So that's the first thing I noticed. The second thing I noticed upon going to a smaller screen is that I will say it's a little bit harder to text because now I'm moving from a bigger to a smaller screen, so I had more room before. And second, actually, the last thing I will say is that I really find it easier to take a photo. So in terms of photo, I don't know, because it is smaller, it actually fits better in the hand. I don't know for taking a photo. So yes, so those are the couple of things I've noticed from going to a 5.7-inch Note Edge to the 5.1-inch S6 Edge. So those are the different things. Have I encountered any lag? With the S6 version I had, it's a pre-production model, so I did encounter a lot of lag with that one. With the S6 Edge, however, no, I have yet to encounter lag. Again, this has only been a week, so take that with a grain of salt, but I've yet to encounter any lag with the Galaxy S6 Edge. Sorry, I have 2 hours of talking to do, so I want to keep my throat good. Have you encountered, is the light reflection off of the Edge bad as people say? No. I honestly don't notice that. For one, because I think people are full of it, or people are keeping their brightness very low. The reason I say that is because this screen is bright as hell. Yes, it will reflect if you don't have it to full brightness, but if you have it to full brightness or even probably 80% brightness, you don't notice any light. I don't. The one thing I will say is you can pretty much see the phone from the side. So I'm showing you guys this purposely. So you can pretty much see what's on a person's phone from the side more easily. That's actually one thing I noticed thus far, is that, like, if I have someone looking over my shoulder, they can pretty much see my phone, I would say, a little bit more easily than before. So that's one thing I will say. But no, the light reflecting on the side, I think, is full of it. I do not. When I started hearing that, I'm like, no, I don't see any light on my phone. So yeah, so no, I don't think that that's true, or at least not true for me. Is it still comfortable to hold the Edge on a day-to-day usage? Absolutely. So actually, you know, I came from a Note Edge to a S6 Edge. The S6 Edge is a lot more comfortable to use because of the dual edge. It really does make a difference. And the edges are also thick enough to hold the button. So you actually have the buttons on the sides, whereas the S6 Edge, it was a narrower one, so you couldn't really hold it. So yeah, I can hold it for a long time. Now, I haven't got my case in yet for it, so I'm getting a couple of review cases from Spec. They make a case, and a couple of different companies are sending me one. So we'll be reviewing the cases here, but I think the grip will even just get better once you have a case on it. Then it's completely easy. And would you recommend the regular S6 or the Edge? All right, this is a question I got from a lot of you guys. So let's break it down. Here's the thing. For the S6 or the S6 Edge, this is a great debate that a lot of people are going between. A lot of people are torn between. So first and foremost, people are going to buy the Edge for the look. That's why I bought it. Look, this phone looks freaking amazing. If I walk down the street, every time I'm at a Starbucks, every time I'm at going around places, people have commented on this phone because they're like, oh my God, is that the Edge? And that's why you buy this phone. That is exactly why you buy this phone, because it looks different from every other phone out there, and you make people envious. Plain and simple. So yeah, so that's kind of obnoxious, but I mean, that's why people buy the phone. They buy the phone for the different look. Okay, so with saying that, the S6 Edge does offer a longer battery life, as I stated earlier. It does offer the Edge people, so you can see the Edge people right on there. So you have that ability, and I have used on twice now the ability to see the Edge light, and then I love the tapping the heart rate sensor to send off the reply for that. And I'm a big fan, as I was on my Note Edge, of the night clock. So I love that feature. But I literally just talked to you about all the Edge features. Is that worth buying a more expensive phone? Not really. I mean, maybe the battery life component, but that's about it. It's not really worth it to buy a more expensive phone for that purpose. So yes, that's the one thing I will say, is that it's not really worth it to buy the the S6 Edge unless you love the look. That's why people buy it. The S6 has everything you need, in my opinion, and there's not really um, if you're not the type of person that really likes to man, I love the way it looks, I love the cool factor of it, then you shouldn't buy an S6 Edge. You should buy the S6. If you are that kind of person, you love the idea of having a phone that everyone's gonna look at, then buy the S6 Edge. That's my personal opinion on between the two. Okay, and then which S6 do you prefer and why? So that's why I prefer the S6 Edge. I love the night clock feature. For me, a power user, the 1 hour battery life, the 1 hour longer battery life does appeal to a person like me. So for power users, it is appealing. And lastly, I love the way it looks. That's the main thing. All right. William asks, try and decide between the Galaxy Note 4 and the S6. My decision will be based on camera, display, headphone jack, sound quality. Thanks so much. Have a great one. All right, William. So here's the thing. So let's go through this piece by piece. Based on camera, I like to start off by saying that the Note 4 beat an SLR in a blind comparison between the Note 4, the SLR, which was it was an entry-level Nikon. I think it was a D3100 or D3200 or something like that. But it was a $600 or $500, $600 SLR. So no matter what, it beat an SLR. And of course, it beat out the iPhone 6 Plus. In a blind comparison, it beat out those phones. So the Note 4 has a substantially good camera. That being said, the S6 destroys it. Plain and simple. The S6 is a substantially better camera, and here's why. The reason why the S6 is so much of a better camera is because it controls lighting better. So with the ability to have auto HDR and the auto light going to another level compared to the Note 4, it really does make a difference, and it really stands out. So yes, the S6 is going to have a better camera than the Note 4 in rear camera for lighting situations, and selfies, it destroys it. For selfies, you can go to, if any of you, any one of you that have a phone, take that phone, go to a carrier store or a Best Buy, and do a selfie with the S6 and your phone. You will be surprised how much better the S6 is. It is really surprising how much better it is because it adapts to every lighting situation on the front camera as well. So the auto HDR is on for bright lighting, but the low lighting is really damn good. I don't care which phone you have. I don't care which phone you have. Do that, and you will see just how different and how much better it is at selfies compared to every other phone out there. Now, your second one, the display. Well, they both have the same display. The S6, because it's smaller, will have a sharper display, but the Note 4 has a Quad HD display, which you can't tell a pixel on anyway. So in that aspect, I would actually give that a little bit to the Note 4 just because it's a bigger screen. Now, do you care about having a bigger screen? That's up to you, but that would be my thing for display. And the headphone jack sound quality, I did check on this for you. The S6 has one more additional input for the in terms of the headphone jack. You can adapt different kind of sounds, and the S6 has two different ones, whereas the Note 4 has. But this is a preset sound thing, so you can. There's lots of third-party apps that can adapt your sound for both audio quality when listening to music, and of course call quality. So because of that, I would call that, I would really say that's not as big of an importance to me, but those are the differences between the two. So for camera, easily goes to the S6. For display, it would, in my opinion, go to the Note 4 for having a bigger display. And for headphone jack, it's a slight S6, but it's so slight that I don't know if you should make that a factor. At least not for me, it doesn't. So it's kind of hard to think of it that way. All right. Ray asked, how did you get rid of the other storage on the S6? other storage. This one I did not look at ahead of time, so let me check on that. If you have questions, keep asking them on the comment section, and I will get to those. So let me see. All right, the other storage. Okay, I'm not sure what you mean, but there is no thing labeled as the other storage. There's miscellaneous. Maybe you were talking about that, or used. Yeah, even in used cache, you can wipe. But yeah, I mean, in terms of built-in storage, the S6 Edge from T-Mobile comes with about 9 gigs being used. So that means you really out of the, oh wait, sorry, that is out of the 64 gig model. So it would be less on the, or yeah, about, so yeah, it would have 9 gigs used out of the 64. So in terms of that storage, you're not really going to get rid of the system memory, but you can get rid of all the other stuff by uninstalling and disabling a lot of stuff. So yes. All right. Now we're down to 2 more questions on this section, or yes. Is the S6 the loudest speaker that Samsung made on any of their smartphones? Yes, it is the loudest speaker I have ever heard on a Samsung smartphone. Yes, that is true. All right, guys. So that was the questions that were asked to me in the other video where I told you to ask your guys questions. Now we have 4 emailed questions to me during the week. If you ever have a question, make sure to email me at askandroidguy@gmail.com and make sure your subject line is question. I put all those aside, and then at the end of the week, I take a look at them in our Android Weekly show, which will air in about an hour today. So make sure to check that out as well if you never watched our Android Weekly shows. All right. Chris Barnes asks, which launcher am I using? You like Apex, but you're not sure if it will disrupt the features on the S6. So I kind of went over this one again. I use Nova Launcher, and it does not interfere in any way with any of the features of the S6, including one thing that I was afraid of it interfering with, but I was originally afraid that it would interfere with the calendar, live calendar. So, you know, it is 19 right now because of the date. You can't really see it. But that was one thing that I feared that it would interfere with, but it did not. So that is one thing I was happy with. Are you going to do a comparison on the LG G4 when it comes out with the S6? I'd like to see if it's a viable option to the S6. And I'd also like to see the comparison between the G4 and the G3 reviews, if possible. Nice cruise pics, thank you. I saw the 2 you put up, yes. Thank you, Richard. So yes, I will be most likely getting a G4. Unfortunately, the PR person at LG is just not very helpful, and they have yet to ever send us a review unit device. I mean, HTC sent it to us. I'm getting the M9. Actually, I think I already got the M9, but I have to go to FedEx to pick it up. But yeah, for some reason, unfortunately, guys, I will let you know right away. The LG PR person has just never been that helpful. By all means, Twitter LG, you know, like, hey, LG, give the Android guy a G4, and so I can review it. But yeah, I've tried to get in contact with them on multiple occasions. I get a new contact information just about of who I need to forward things to every CES when I'm at LG's booth. And unfortunately, they keep giving me the runaround. That's why we didn't have the Flex 2 when they said they would be sending it to us, and they never did. And yeah, so it's a real shame, but unfortunately, they have not sent it to us. We could go out and purchase one, but there has to be the demand for it. I mean, it is an expensive phone for a phone that I'm just going to be using for review. I don't know if I would make it a daily driver, but yes, hopefully we'll be getting that. I did have a friend that worked at LG that did allow me to use his G3 for 2 months, and that's why we got all the G3 videos we did get. However, unfortunately, LG laid all the representatives off about 3 months ago, and they just rehired a bunch of new reps. So I'm going to try to see if I can, talk to one of them, because they usually get 3 phones. But yeah, so that's what happened last time and why I had the G3. But yes, yeah, it's not good all around, basically. Matthew asked, how about battery life on the S6 and S6 Edge? I already said, again, the S6 Edge has about I would say the estimate is good to say it has an hour longer battery life. All right, Anna, I've been an iPhone user for years. I just got the S6 yesterday. I'm not totally Android literate, as my husband does have an Android, and my in-laws do things for them on theirs. My question is, one tutorial that will give me instructions on how to use everything. Your videos are helpful. Thank you. All right, Anna. Yeah, there's not really. So one thing I would say actually is shout out to my editor actually for this channel, Wayne. He has a channel called H2 Tech Videos, and he has a S6 for Beginners series. So it's like multiple videos, and it has that. That's one thing I would say that could be helpful. Another thing is, yeah, it's hard to find one, and that's the thing. You want one solution, but that is one avenue you can go to. Another avenue would be go to a Best Buy if you have one nearby you, and they have classes on how to use the phones for Samsung. So Samsung, anyone with a Samsung store within a store has classes every week on how to use the device. So that would be the best avenue to go with, in my opinion. But yeah, that would be, and other carriers do too. Verizon does it for their stores. I don't think AT&T does it for theirs. Don't think T-Mobile does it for theirs. But yeah, I would say try that. That would be my best opinion. There is a help feature on your phone as well. So most people don't really notice that, or they just kind of forget about it. But in your settings, there is a help button. Let me turn that down. So there is a help button right there. And when you tap that, it literally has everything you would need. Getting started, new features, application settings, everything you need. It's a one-stop shop. So maybe take a look at that as well. All right, let's get to the live questions asked me, and we have a couple. So let's get to them right now. Have you had a Moto device before? Absolutely. My first Android was a Moto device. So my very first Android was a Droid. Droid does. So yeah, I loved Motorola back in the day. The main reason I have yet to find a perfect Motorola has been more so the fact that their cameras, for lack of a better word, suck. And I need a good camera on my phone. That's one thing that's a non-negotiable for me. And so far, I have yet to ever find a good, even with the Droid Turbo, that was its one flaw in an otherwise amazing phone. But yeah, that's been Moto's worst feature, in my opinion. It has been definitely their camera. It's been never up to par against other manufacturers' cameras. What are the cons of the Galaxy S6? Thank you. Glad you asked that. Damn it, I got your name last week. But yeah, glad you asked that. What are the cons of the S6? Mm-hmm. So there are some cons of the S6. And that is, the first con is definitely, okay. So you kind of caught me off guard, because I will be doing so we just had the 10 best features of the S6. We will be doing a 5 worst features of the Galaxy S6, because there are some features that I did not like. Now, I've been able to get around some of them, but there are definitely some features I don't like. And some of them are from Lollipop itself. So spoilers for that. But yeah, so what are some? So one of the biggest things that a lot of people don't know, you do not have MHL compatibility with the S6. So those MHL adapters do not work on the Galaxy S6. You can only screen mirror. Boom. Yeah, that was one of the worst things I was quite shocked with and quite frankly pissed off about until I researched it more. And yes, you have no MHL. They took that feature off. They completely took that feature off of the S6. Yeah, I don't know what Samsung was thinking there. Don't know what they were thinking. But yes, there is no MHL connection compatibility with the S6. Really, really don't like that. So yeah, that's one. And you'll look forward to the rest of at the event. One is obviously the thing that people talk about, an SD card. I will explain how I got over that and thus far, and how I've been getting through that. But yes, I will. Again, there'll be a whole video on it. So yes. Kronos, say what's up, Kronos. Are you still able to wave your hand in front of the phone to get the status info with the screen off motion? So, uh, what was it? So one, you can do a wave motion, but it will actually turn the screen on. So they do have that gesture. It's actually one of in the 10 hidden features video, but it will turn the entire screen off, not with the screen. It will turn the screen off, not keep the screen off. So you can't necessarily do that. So yeah, it's not like the old. Now there's third-party apps you can get to do it, of course, but yeah, Samsung kind of went away from that on this phone. By the way, the Note phone was 5.3, so going back to a 5.1 isn't a problem. Yeah, and that's true. The first Note was a 5.3, so yes, but it's just something a lot of people ask. Favorite Galaxy S6 Edge cases? Well, even though the representative is being a little douchey to me, Incipio has some really nice cases, and I do still have to say that they're nice. I'm still waiting to get my cases from them, but that's a whole nother thing. So yeah, Incipio is a good one. Spec I am waiting for, and I love their cases. I truly love Spec cases. I'm a big fan of Spec. So I'm waiting for that. So yes, I'm waiting for that one. And there's a very cool case that I will be reviewing. I'm waiting to get it. It's not a famous brand, but let's just say I got the gold S6, right? It shows my Marvel pride. I'll just say that until you guys see it on a video. And it will definitely be on Instagram as soon as I get the case, because I'll just put it on immediately. So make sure to wait for that. Okay, Eve Hill, what's up, Ricky? This is a couple of last shows, but anyway, my question, or should I say problem, is my Sprint Note 4 upgrade to Lollipop, and ever since then, my Pandora app has gone error 5.5 help and cannot install at all. So what I'm guessing is you tried to uninstall it, and then when you tried to reinstall it, it didn't work anymore, is what I'm guessing. So here's the thing. With that error, I don't know if you can get around that, because the 5.5 one is the... Sorry, doing some techie stuff in my head. So yeah, Ephil, with that, it's kind of messed up, because what I would try to see is if you can Google Pandora APK and see if you can install it that way. If it cannot install it that way, it's something with the system itself. That is what I had to do with my S6, the prototype one. I had to get a firmware update that I had to install myself just to get around it, because I couldn't install like this pre-production unit. Samsung made it so you couldn't install benchmark tests, that you can install a lot of stuff that I was like, really? So yeah, a big thing about that is that if it's as simple as going to Google and trying to download the Pandora APK, if that works, then you're fine. However, if that does not work, then it's something that's worse, and that unfortunately you would have to wait to a new firmware. I would, go on the Google Play Store and let Pandora know on their rating, on their review, like review it and say, this is not working with my Note 4 since the Lollipop update, please fix. And that will let Pandora know that there is an issue with that particular app in Lollipop. And it'll just start the ball rolling. It could be a little while, and which sucks. I know a person that when they got the Lollipop update, the Pandora Black, like the the underground version of Pandora that you get unlocked everything and all that kind of stuff, that stopped working. Yeah, that I mean, you can't really get around that one until again a firmware update would happen. Hey Rick, I really miss you. I just started watching videos. I didn't know you did them. Yeah, I do lots of videos. I'm one of those people on YouTube. I saw them from Steel Beach at Radio Shack. Hey, how you been? And yeah, I do all these videos, and yes, I do them all the time. So yeah, all right, guys. I think we'll call that a show. It's 7:40. So at 8:30, in about an hour, we're going to do Android, our regularly scheduled Android Weekly. So make sure to stay tuned for that. Please, come by and yes, stay tuned for that. If you have any questions, email me. Well, I won't get to if you email them to me, I won't get them to them this week. I'll get them to them next week. But ask them live on our next show in about an hour. All right. Thank you guys for watching. I might start a little bit early, actually, around 8:20, because we're going to be filming tonight, too. So I might do it at 8:20, actually. I might change the time on that. So stay tuned for that. Keep your eye on the timer on that one, because I might change to 8:20-ish, just so I can make sure I have enough time to film. All right, guys. Got to put up new videos for you guys. This has been RICKY, the Android Guy.